What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian Colon from House of Rasslin, and this is my review for the September 23rd episode of WWE Smackdown from Salt Lake City. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that way you are notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Tonight's Smackdown, how do I put it, man? It was a decent show. It was a really decent show. The opening segment and the main event were pretty much the highlight for me because it involved the Bloodline, which is like my favorite faction in all of wrestling right now. But more so because the match was good, but the opening segment was freaking hilarious, man. Sami Zayn, man, that guy is so entertaining to watch. But before I get into that, I'll give you guys the results like I always do. So the first match, you had Liv Morgan. She defeated Lacey Evans. The second match, you had the New Day defeat the Maximum Male Models. The third match, you had Braun Strowman defeat Otis. The fourth match, you had Raquel Rodriguez defeat Dakota Kai. And then in the main event, you had the Usos defeat the Brawling Brutes. So that is the card for WWE Smackdown. The opening segment, the Bloodline come out. Like I said, man, this segment was freaking hilarious, man. So you get, they all come out. You got Solo, you got the Usos, you got Sami Zayn, you got Paul Heyman, and you got the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, the Undisputed World Champion. He comes out. And before they say their stuff, Roman Reigns, he asks, how do I put it? Let me backtrack. So Paul Heyman, there you go. So Paul Heyman, he tells us that Solo Sikoa wasn't sent because the Tribal Chief or, Paul Heyman or anybody here. He was sent from the elders of the Samoan dynasty, which kind of like the subtle hint. If you guys follow the Samoan dynasty account, it's pretty much, I believe it's run by Rikishi. So it's like, okay, it's Rikishi and everything. And Roman Reigns, he calls Solo Sikoa. He's like, you may have been sent by the elders of the Samoan dynasty, but you have to acknowledge me. And Solo Sikoa is like, I acknowledge you, my tribal chief. And it's like, nice. Because at first it came across like, oh, crap, man, they're going to do this whole thing that they did with Jey Uso and, acknowledge me, and this whole stuff. And it's like, oh, God, no. But cool. So they say that. They're about to leave, and then Sami Zayn stops like, hey, whoa, I got something to say. He's like, I acknowledge you, my tribal chief, and blah, blah, blah. And Roman Reigns it's like, oh, man, it looks like, oh, shit. Are they gonna turn on Sami Zayn? Like, are they finally gonna kick him out? And you see them and Roman Reigns is like, what are you doing? Like, you're not us. Like, you're not. Where do you think you hang out with us? Like, what are you doing? And he's like, you know what? You need to take that shirt off. And he's looking at people like, what? I thought I'm part of the Bloodline. And Jey Uso is the one that rips the shirt off of him because, of course, there's like beef and conflict with Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. And they tear off the shirt, and it's like, oh man, did they kick Sami out? Like, oh man. And Roman Reigns, he looks at Sami Zayn, he's like, yeah, you're never gonna wear that shirt again. And he's like, because I got you a new shirt. And it's crazy because, mind you, Roman Reigns and the Usos are bad guys. The crowd cheered when he said that. He tosses Sami Zayn a shirt, and it has honorary honorary Uce, and you see Roman, he's smiling. Paul Heyman's just like, all right. You got Jimmy Uso's laughing, and you got Solo just like doing like this, and you got Jey Uso just like, and then you had Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso, this stupid handshake. Well, let me phrase it. It's not stupid, but it's funny. This funny handshake where they're, it's like, what? Like, what is this? What? And then he grabs a shirt and he looks at Roman. Of course, okay, he has the shirt on and he grabs the microphone. That's what I meant to say. So he grabs the microphone and he looks at Roman Reigns like, Roman, I acknowledge you, my tribal chief. And he gives him a hug, and it's like, oh my God, this is so hilarious. Like, the comedic timing of Sami Zayn in serious situations is hilarious and it's entertaining, man. That opening segment was the best part of the show. Man, oh my God, that was so funny, man. That was so funny. And this is really interesting. I don't think anybody's realized this yet. Hopefully they keep the bloodline together for at least 2 years, say. 2, pushing it 3. But if you look at the dynamic of the bloodline is very similar to the Four Horsemen. And by that I mean, if you go back to the original Four Horsemen, Roman Reigns is the Ric Flair. The Usos are the Andersons, Ole and Arn Anderson. And Solo Sikoa is the Tully Blanchard. And then, of course, you have Paul Heyman, who's the J.J. Dillon. And of course, Sami Zayn. I can't remember if there was anybody with the Horsemen that was like a side hope or something like that. I can't remember. Maybe there was somebody. I can't remember if there was. But you have that dynamic of Heyman, the Usos, Solo, and Roman Reigns. They're basically the Samoan Four Horsemen. If you really look at it, like, that's what they're the idea. Like, the parallels are very similar with the Four Horsemen and the Bloodline. So I hope they keep them together for a while. Like I said, 2, pushing it 3 years, but man, there's a strong similarity between them, and it's going to be fun to see what rival faction goes against them, which is going to be really, really fun to see. Then you get the Liv Morgan versus Lacey Evans match. What was interesting about this match, Lacey Evans did not get an entrance. This happened a few times on the show, but you didn't get an intro from Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans just got in some really good kicks in this match. Then there was a point where she grabbed a kendo stick. She missed. Liv Morgan did the Oblivion pin. 1, 2, 3. She pins her. Then she starts beating her up with the kendo stick. She takes a table out, sets it up. Mind you, this is Liv Morgan. She puts Lacey Evans on the table. She goes on the top rope and dives from the top rope onto the table that Lacey Evans is on, and she hits it, and she gets up, and she's just screaming, and it's like, whoa. And mind you, reasons why she did this, because throughout the whole match, Lacey Evans like, you're not extreme enough, you're not extreme enough, you're not extreme enough, and she's getting there. She's getting very extreme, so good setup for her match with Ronda Rousey, which should be, it's probably going to over-deliver on that match. I'm really looking forward to that match. Then you get a backstage segment with Hit Row and Street Profit. Shinsuke Nakamura makes an appearance, which was hilarious. Then you had another backstage segment with Sami Zayn and Madcap Moss and Ricochet. This was fun because you could tell they were making fun of Sami Zayn. Like, dude, you're not even part of the, like, really, you're not even part of it. And they, Madcap Moss and Ricochet are like, yeah, you think you're there, but all because you have your head so far up. And before they could finish it, freaking Solo Sikoa bum rushes them. Like, he shoves them into the, I believe it's the what is it? The loading, like the loading dock door and everything. He shoves him in there. He just starts beating him up like he took out Bad Cat Moss and Ricochet at the same time. And Sami Zayn's like, see, that's why you don't talk about me. And it's like, oh, man, this is funny, man. Like I said, the dynamic of Sami Zayn with the Bloodline is so fun and so entertaining because the Bloodline are so serious, and Sami Zayn is the comic relief, which kind of ties into Paul Heyman when he has his comic relief type moments. It's very entertaining, man. But I loved it. I'm like, okay, they're starting to establish the Bloodline as the dominant faction in the WWE, which is it's very fun, very fun. Then we get the New Day versus Maximum Male Models match. Again, Maximum Male Models, no entrance. Basically, there was a point in the match where Maxine Dupree was trying to take a photo, and Masay and Mansoor were posing. They lifted up, who was it, Xavier, and they tried to do something and wound up in a roll up, 1, 2, 3. New Day wins. And then afterwards, you get Max Dupree snapping. And of course, there's been rumors that Max Dupree could go back to his LA Knight gimmick, which I'm all for because this gimmick is very bland and like it's uninteresting. Like there's nothing interesting about this gimmick. It's just there. And his LA Knight gimmick was over in NXT. Of course, many people preferred Eli Drake, but it is what it is. So Max Dupree is possibly the early stages of him turning to LA Knight, which it would be beneficial for him to do that considering how Triple H is going with the show and how his creative direction. So I think LA Knight fits more than this Max Dupree. Then we get a recap of Strowman and Otis last week. The ring crew was reinforcing the match. The ring, we get a backstage segment with the Hit Row and Los Lotharios and everything. So they leave. Then we get Braun Strowman and Otis. And the reason why I bring this matchup, besides it's happening here, but one thing that stood out between this match and there was another backstage segment, but then another promo was this was around the time that the White Rabbit thing 923. So as Strowman's there, it's like, oh man, are they going to let this go to 923? Because it was like 7:55 Chicago time. So I was like, man, are they really gonna let them go like that far? Actually, no, I don't think it was 7:55. It was like 8:05. There you go, 8:05, 8:10 ish. It's like, man, are they gonna let them go 13 minutes or something like that? And really didn't go that far, but man, this was a crazy match. In this match, Strowman, I don't know if he tweaked his hip or something like that, because he afterwards, like, he was limping ginger, and it's like, no, I'm tired of seeing wrestlers get injured for long periods of time. It's like you've seen it both in AEW and WWE. Like, I know injuries happen, but please, can we have no injuries for at least 3 to 6 months? Just let it be. Oh, okay. But man, Strowman, he tossed Otis with a drop kick. Then there was a point where Gable, he interfered. And as Strowman was, Strowman was trying to do his, around the ring shoulder block, didn't execute it. Then there was a point where Strowman, he just shouldered Otis onto the announce table again, because he's done that, I think, twice already. So it's like impressive strength, but it's like you're kind of doing that every match you have with Otis, and it's every time it's done, it's just loses its effect. But in the end, Braun Strowman powerbombs Otis, and that's when you've seen him like tweak his hip or something. I hope he's okay, because like I said, I'm tired of these wrestlers getting injured. Like, man, like, can we not have them injured? And mind you, it has nothing to do with them. It's just the nature of the profession that they're in as far as professional wrestling. But it's like, can whatever's causing these injuries like hold off and go away? Like, let these wrestlers perform. So you get that power bomb. Strowman wins. He's celebrating and everything. Then you get a backstage segment with the Brawling Brutes, and they're chanting, "It's fight night, it's fight night." So then you get a promo with Drew McIntyre. And this is where you get close to the 9:23 mark. You're getting close to it. But you don't necessarily get there, because before this whole segment finishes, it's like 9:23, and then 9:20. It's a commercial at 9:23. But something did happen at 9:23, which was not televised. It was live crowd. So Drew McIntyre comes out. It's your first big match. It's going to be a strap match at Extreme Rules. Then out comes Scarlett. And Drew McIntyre is just looking like, okay, where is he? Where is he? Karen Cross comes out. They start brawling. Then Drew, he straps on the strap. What the hell is it called? It's like a belt. Whatever the hell that thing is. The belt, he straps it on Karen Cross. So he's whipping Karen Cross, and he's beating him up. And then Karen Cross tries to leave. He brings him in, and he continues to beat him up. Then Scarlett, stops like, no, don't hit him. Like, you're not going to hit me, are you? And the moment Drew McIntyre showed compassion, Scarlett comes with the fireball. Boom. Hits Drew McIntyre. Then you had, they're fighting back and everything. Then there was a low blow that Scarlett did on Drew McIntyre. Karen Cross puts him in the chokehold. He's choking him out. He's choking him out, choking him out. Then they go to commercial. So it was at 9:23 that they go to commercial. And of course, everyone online is like, oh man, they didn't like, dude, what happened with 9:20? They went to commercial, like, oh man. And right away, I thought, I was like, wait a minute. If they're on commercial at 9:23, then something's going to happen with the live crowd. And sure enough, at 9:23, the live crowd, they're playing the White Rabbit song. And then towards the end of the song, you see this red lighting come on, and the crowd's like, ooh, and then it goes back, and the music turns off. So we're getting closer, but they did do a QR code in the hit roast segment. I can't remember which backstage segment it was. Maybe it was the first one, but there was a QR code, and you hit it, and it gave coordinates to where Raw is going to be this Monday. I believe it's going to be in Edmonton, Canada. So Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. There you go. Forgive me, guys. So are we going to get more clues on Raw, or are we going to get a reveal to who or what is this White Rabbit? So looking forward to that. But yeah, that's what basically happened with the White Rabbit thing. I was anticipating, like, man, 9:23. And of course, yes, the date, but it's like, okay, we got to keep in mind that it's also the time too. So it's like, So they did deliver, but it wasn't for the TV audience. It was the live crowd as far as the music and the QR code and that stuff. So then we get a match between Raquel Rodriguez and Dakota Kai. Cool thing about this match, they bring up the history of Raquel Rodriguez and Dakota Kai in NXT, which I like that, because they really didn't emphasize that before Triple H was in creative. It was just like, oh yeah, they're NXT, but nothing, elaborating on what they did in NXT. This was another quick match. This was similar to the New Day match where they were wrestling. Then Bayley and Io, tried to interfere. Shotzi attacks them. Then Damage Control was trying to get the upper hand. Raquel gets the roll up, 1, 2, 3. They pin. Then afterwards they brawl, and it was just brawling. Like, I understand what they're doing with the women's division as far as, establishing, stories and everything. But man, the women's division so far is basically consists of 6 women tag matches, tag team matches, and very quick single matches. That's what it's pretty much come down to. More so on SmackDown. So I know things should heat up with the women's division, but it does feel like there just needs to be. I don't even know if it needs Sasha Banks and Naomi. Like, it honestly feels like they just need new faces in the women's division. More so because it seems like we've seen them already, and that's something that I've noticed with Triple H returning. That, yeah, we're bringing these names back that we're familiar of, but it does feel like WWE does need new faces that we have not seen on the WWE main roster. And I'm not talking about Ciampa, Gargano, like those guys should have been up years ago, but it does feel like it should have been like some new faces are needed on Raw, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, that basically happened. Raquel Rodriguez and Shotzi got the upper hand on Damage Control. So we'll see where that goes. Then we get backstage segment Hit Roll. They get attacked by Los Lotharios. They came in there. They super kicked Top Dollar. Top Dollar was mad. He had his thing like, hey, I'm going to get you, this. And so we're getting a Los Lotharios and Hit Roll program. So, it is what it is. Then the main event, Brawling Brutes versus the Usos. This was a fantastic match. I recommend you guys see it. This was a very good match. The Brawling Brutes have put on some amazing matches in the last month. They have done some great work. You could say that they slightly and subtly repackaged Butch, Pete Dunne. He has the name Butch, but he wrestles like Pete Dunne, and he has the attire of Pete Dunne. So it's like, great job, Triple H, because that Butch with the hat, it's like, no, we need Pete Dunne. We like Pete Dunne. Give us Pete Dunne. And this match delivered, man. This was a very good match. The Ridge Holland hot tag where he picked up both Usos and dropped them off. But the key point of this match was the end of the match. So you had, after Ridge Holland picked up both Usos and everything, and there was just a lot of stuff in this match that if I went into, it's just going to be another 30 minutes, but I'm not going to do that because you don't want that. So I'll keep it where it's good. But yeah, you got Ridge Holland when he picked up both Usos and dropped them. Sheamus was outside, and then out of nowhere, the Imperium attacks Sheamus, and Gunther kicks Sheamus in the face. Then you had Ridge Holland and Butch. They're attacking him, so they're fighting with Imperium. They go in the ring. Then you had the Brutes get the upper hand. Then the Usos super kick them. Then you get was it Jey Uso or Jimmy Uso? You get one of the Usos pinning 1, 2, 3. So the Usos retain the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championship. Solid match. Usos win again. I do not mind the Usos winning. They prevailed. Actually, no. Solo Sikoa prevailed last week. Usos prevailed this week. Wonder if Sami Zayn is going to wrestle next week. Very interesting, but overall, man, this was a fun SmackDown. Of course, a lot of anticipation was around the White Rabbit, and is it going to be revealed at 9:23? And not necessarily, but just a clue was revealed for the destination of Raw this Monday. But the big thing that stood out about this episode of SmackDown was the opening segment. That made the show. Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa acknowledging Roman Reigns as the tribal chief, the interaction, and just the freaking comedic timing between Sami Zayn and Paul Heyman was hilarious. The subtle tease of Sami Zayn getting kicked out of the bloodline, but then Roman tossing him a shirt and the crowd erupting. He's like, wait a minute, they're bad guys, but you like these bad guys. And Sami Zayn, yeah, I acknowledge you, my tribal chief, and he gives Roman a hug, and just that whole opening segment. Go watch that opening segment, and man, it was entertaining. So, see what happens next week. Of course, everything is on the road to Extreme Rules. Should be a really good pay-per-view. Maybe we may get Bray Wyatt at the Extreme Rules, or we get the reveal of the White Rabbit at Extreme Rules. Hopefully there's not another clue this Monday and there's some reveal, but then again, just drag it out to Extreme Rules. It is what it is, but that is my review for the September 23rd episode of WWE Smackdown from Salt Lake City. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that way you are notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, enjoy wrestling. There's a lot of wrestling going on. All right? Stop fighting. All right? Just enjoy wrestling. With that, I'm out.